The biggest earnings week of this season has arrived. Monster tech names to take to the spotlight this week from the likes of Google, Amazon, Meta, Apple, even AMD, all set to headline. There's a ton of important economic releases coming as well. We get PMI data. And oh yeah, January non-farm payrolls to end the week on Friday. It's your week ahead preview right now. We kick things off Monday pre-market with one of the most anticipated and talked about stocks to come to the market back in 2020. SoFi will report earnings before the market opens to start the week on Monday. The stock did not escape a significant punishment last year, falling more than 80% from its highs, but has put in a solid rally so far off its December lows, up 35%. Most analysts are positive going into the report, with the company coming off 4 straight surprises, 2 to the upside and 2 to the downside. Tuesday, there's a ton of economic data to come as well. Starting at 9 a.m., we'll get the S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index. That's a year-over-year reading. 9:45 then, one of those numbers that kind of creeps up after the market is open. Chicago PMI coming through at 9:45, and then 10 a.m. could be a market mover as well. CB, Consumer Confidence, the Conference Board reading last month on consumer confidence jumped, remember, from 101.4 in November to December. We went to 108.3. All right, let's talk earnings. A ton to get through on Tuesday. Caterpillar, XOM, GM, McDonald's, Spotify, UPS, just to name a few, will headline pre-market reports. Caterpillar could be one to watch. It's been one of the strongest stocks in the overall market, rallying more than 60%. Spotify, meanwhile, recently announced a 6% reduction to its workforce, joining other tech names, and is expected to post positive results. Even bigger names, meanwhile, are set to report after the market closes on Tuesday, with the likes of AMD headlining things. Snapchat, EA, and Western Digital could be an interesting one. There have been a few cautionary notes from analysts of late on the stock going into the earnings. Deutsche Bank, for example, pointing to excellent execution already from A&D, calling the stock already fully valued. By far the biggest event of the week comes Wednesday afternoon. Make sure you're with us. We'll be on live at 1:45, 15 minutes before. Yep, the next Fed decision going to come Wednesday at 2 p.m. All signs pointing towards yet another quarter-point increase coming from the Fed. Meanwhile, brings another full docket of economic data and monster earnings names to come as well. First off, starting at 9:45 a.m. Eastern, S&P Global Manufacturing PMI. At 10 o'clock, we get the ISM Manufacturing PMI reading for January. So 10:30 Eastern, meanwhile, the typical EIA oil inventories number to come as well. Peloton, meanwhile, highlighting pre-market earnings reports that day. The struggling fitness equipment makers expected to report an increase in overall earnings on lower revenue this quarter. After the close then, focus will shift back to the mega cap tech group, with social media giant Meta's latest report, the next to come through from FANG or Big Tech. Most analysts are expecting a miss on this report, lower revenues of $31.31 billion. That would be down 7% on the year-over-year basis. Moving right along, let's talk Thursday. We'll kick things off in the pre-market, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We get non-farm productivity for Q4. There's an inflation portion to that. Initial jobless claims, of course, always the Thursday number, will also come out 8:30 Eastern. Thursday this week, by far the biggest earnings day of the week as well. Pre-market, we get this: Bristol Myers, Canada Goose, Eli Lilly, Ferrari coming through, Harley-Davidson, Penn National. We should watch out for WWE. There's still rumors of a buyout swirling in the background. Make sure you're with us then. 2:45 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. I'm super happy and excited about this. It's the return of Danielle Shea from Simpler Trading to the show. We'll get her take on this earnings season, what she's looking forward to going forward as well. Once we get past the mega cap tech names, some options ideas coming back to the show, 2:45. After the close that very same day then, we get Google, Amazon, Apple all set to report. Ford will report. MicroStrategy, Qualcomm, Starbucks, and even U.S. Steel. Alphabet shares will be of particular interest. They've been under significant pressure in recent weeks with their ad business coming under the microscope. We are expecting a slowdown in the overall economy. Arguably, then, the most influential stock in the entire market going to report earnings. Aapl will be closely watched by market participants. Street analysts have a majority overwhelming buy rating on the stock heading into this earnings report. Friday, then, economic data takes the spotlight back once again in the pre-market. We'll kick things off at 8:30 with the big report, January non-farm payrolls, before we even get the market open. S&P non-manufacturing PMI then comes through at 9:45. 10 a.m. is the ISM non-manufacturing PMI for January. We're setting up for the biggest week of the year to this point, with the rest of mega cap tech coming through with earnings. As always, we'll bring you all the action live on TraderTV.Live.